Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Good evening to everyone, and welcome to April the 1st and your daily episode of I Left My Heart at the Masjid. Tonight, we will be talking to some school principals about how the COVID-19 shutdown and pandemic affected Al-Iman and An-Nur school at the IAR. As a reminder, last night we talked to Imam Muammar about the thick of taking out certain governmental loans. Right now, the government offers loans to small businesses that are in need and to other organizations, as well as individuals that have mortgage payments on their houses. And Imam Muammar clarified some important fiqh opinions about whether that's Islamically permissible or not. As a reminder, all these videos are available, including last night's, on the playlist available right here on this Islamic Association of Raleigh YouTube channel. Just scroll down to Left My Heart at the Masjid. There should be a link in the bio, the description of this video, and you'll get an update on that, inshallah. We also covered the dua to discuss during a pandemic, and that will be uploaded to raleighmasjid.org/Imam's Corner by Friday, April 3rd, inshallah. Now I would like to hand it over to Imam AbuTaleb to begin us with a beautiful dua, as well as discussing the importance of schools, and Islamic schools especially. Imam AbuTaleb.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين اللهم اشرح لنا صدورنا ويسر لنا أمورنا. To beginning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's blessed name, we ask Allah to open our hearts and to expand our chests and to ease our and facilitate our affairs for us as Prophet Musa alayhi salam made this by the Quran al-Karim. Welcome everyone. We're really glad to be with you tonight. Alhamdulillah, an incredibly important topic, reflecting on the ayah from the Quran al-Karim, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يَرْفَعِ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ دَرَجَاتٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that Allah elevates those that have been given knowledge from amongst you and those that believe in levels. And so this enterprise of building and facilitating knowledge for people, and most especially for our present and our future, who are our children, is a labor of love. It takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of hard work. And in an age where we're very much into instant gratification and to a pill for every ill, these moments are often under-celebrated in our lives. But they are from the greatest honors Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestows on a human being. To craft and share knowledge and the formation of a holistic person into a believer is something that our Prophet ﷺ himself modeled as the best student and the best teacher ﷺ. It is also something that is incredibly rewarded because the Prophet ﷺ says in the hadith that whomever facilitates the good for someone, they have the reward of it and all that comes after it without reducing the reward of the person who does it. Meaning that if I facilitate a good for a student or a family member or a friend, if I teach them something of benefit, if I help walk alongside them along a beneficial path, then that khair, whatever stems off of it, that tree, if you will, that grows from it, that person that's doing it gets a reward, but the person that facilitated or taught for them gets a share of that reward as well. So it is one of the under-celebrated and yet one of the most impactful and powerful and important parts of what we do as human beings, not only thinking of ourselves, but walking alongside others, and most especially children, in helping others become the very best that they can be. One incredibly important way, and perhaps the center of how this is accomplished at your masjid and our community, is through our schools. Alhamdulillah, we are incredibly esteemed and privileged to have with us today, alhamdulillah, members from Al-Iman School, proudly celebrating, alhamdulillah, 26 years, blessing this community, alhamdulillah, now where some of Al-Iman's earliest graduates have themselves gone on to be parents and their children are enrolled in the institution. It's truly a great blessing to see an institution that lasts more than a generation, alhamdulillah. We also are blessed to have Noor school with us today, a Noor Quran Academy, which alhamdulillah produced well over 50 huffaz now. But beyond that, also all the people that they have gone on to teach, to impact the Taraweeh that they have led. Alhamdulillah, extending their impact by understanding, by memorizing, by learning to engage and apply Al-Quran Al-Kareem. Of course, at IR, we also have Al-Furqan School, which is a weekend school, alhamdulillah. These three form the core of our strategy, alhamdulillah, in providing resources for each family to engage in what fits that family and that student at that period of time. And we recognize that our community is diverse, and therefore, alhamdulillah, our approach in supporting parents is diverse as well. I have the great privilege of serving alongside these dedicated teachers and administrators and board members and leaders every day serving at the Masjid. So alhamdulillah, the dedication that they show day in and day out, even when in those moments where people are not noticing, where it's not that graduation, all the hard work and the nights and the long and dedicated effort leading up to those moments of triumph, I have the privilege of being able to see that every day. But today, I reached out to, alhamdulillah, our esteemed guests because I wanted you, our esteemed community, to have a chance to see it as well. If perhaps your children are in the schools, perhaps I'm sure many of our staff and board members are tuning in today, but perhaps you're just a community member who your child graduated, or your grandparent whose grandkids are coming up, maybe coming up to school age. Wherever you are in life, it's important that you see this beautiful dimension of this tireless service and hard work at our community. And alhamdulillah, particularly now, where all of us are suffering and each of us is touched by this crisis in a different way, while acknowledging each and every person's individual experience with this crisis, I want to truly appreciate that our guests today, representing our incredible teams at Al-Iman and at An-Noor, have gone the extra mile and also sacrificing for the community, as both of our schools are up and running right now, despite all of these restrictions, all the hardship, a multifaceted crisis response that was done in tandem with, alhamdulillah, the IAR leadership, and continues with the hard and dedicated effort of our teachers today. And so I wish I could go through every one. We have a story with each and every one of our staff members, alhamdulillah. They are dozens between the two schools, alhamdulillah, and if you extend to the volunteers, they are hundreds. We appreciate each and every one of them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow this khair to remain, inshallah, for you and your family. And tonight, we also want to appreciate the four voices that are representing them, alhamdulillah. Principal Faria Khan from Al-Iman School, as well as Brother Firdos Patan from representing the Al-Iman School Board. Again, I know you both will work alongside an incredible team, but we appreciate you both taking time after a long day's work and taking time from your families, alhamdulillah, to join us today. As we sincerely appreciate the presence, alhamdulillah, of Sheikh Hussein Dalvi, who is the Hifd Principal at An-Noor Quran Academy, as well as our esteemed brother Farouk Chima, representing as chair, alhamdulillah, the An-Noor Quran Academy School Board. So we appreciate each and every one of you and all of your team members. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward you for all you do, and especially the incredible sacrifices that you have made to have our schools continue to serve even amidst these unprecedented circumstances and these difficult times of crisis. And so inshallah, we're looking forward to an informal conversation with you today, inshallah, learning more about what makes the gears go round at the schools and what unique challenges and how we have faced them, alhamdulillah, during this time of crisis. Again, jazakallah khairan, may Allah reward you. Turn it back over, inshallah, to Brother Kashif to move to our next segment.
Jazakallah khair, Imam AbuTaleb, for beginning us so beautifully and so eloquently, alhamdulillah, as well as for introducing our wonderful guests. As Imam AbuTaleb mentioned, tonight we are joined by the principals and chairman of Al-Noor Quran Academy and Al-Iman Islamic School, both based at the Islamic Association of Raleigh, and both unfortunately had to shut their physical doors when we encountered this COVID-19 pandemic. Inshallah, everyone can see all six of us on screen right now. And I'll just run through exactly who's who, and our wonderful panelists will give a nice wave or say Assalamu alaikum to the audience. First up, we have Brother Firdos Patan from Al-Iman. He's the chairman of Al-Iman. And highly talented ultimate frisbee player. Alhamdulillah. And next up, we have Sister Faria, the principal of Al Iman, who was a high school fencing champion, alhamdulillah. So if any harm befalls IAR, she'll fence away the problems from us, inshallah. Next up, we have Brother Farouk Chima. He is the chairman of An-Nur. He would not provide me with a fun fact today, unfortunately. But he's been traveling all over the country, alhamdulillah, and that's why we are self-isolating. We're not breaking any CDC regulations here. There's only 6 people, not 10 people on this voice chat. And finally, we have Sheikh Hussein Delvi, the principal of An-Nur Quran Academy at IAR. Sheikh Hussein and I actually share the same fun fact. We're both from South Africa, alhamdulillah. Usually when I tell people I'm from South Africa, they ask me, what country in South Africa? Alhamdulillah, with An-Nur students and Al Iman students, they know exactly what South Africa is. They know we hosted the 2010 World Cup. They're all over the page, alhamdulillah. Very some smart students over there. And for our audience, please feel free to ask us any questions on the YouTube chat. We'll get to those by the end of this night, inshallah. And once again, I'd like to thank our panelists for joining us. So my first question is, what did you first think when you heard about the coronavirus pandemic? Did you think it would be hitting our shores? Did you think it would be this aggressive and this chaotic? So, anyone can answer any of these questions.
I'd probably say I watch a lot of news, and so back December, late December, as the impeachment process is also going on here. International news. I was seeing what was going on in China, and it was interesting to see how it was unfolding. And at some point, I kept thinking to myself, it'll end, it'll stop, and it didn't. So yeah, it was very interesting to see how quickly it spread and how quickly it made it to our shores. It was quite a bit of a surprise, but that's my first impression of it. I didn't expect it to go as far as it would.
Yeah, I think from my side, I think when it moved really fast, and I must say, I handed brother for those who kind of had to, highlight that, hey, this is how far it can go. We need to think ahead. So I think IAR was ahead of it. They set up a very strong, under Sister Zainab, the emergency response team, and that helped kind of coordinate things and get a little bit faster, I think, where compared to what the rest of the state was doing. I will add a tidbit. I didn't think you would hold it against me, Kashif, but like my family and I, we moved back to Raleigh. We used to live in Raleigh over a decade ago. And we love this community, and we came back over here. So we're just excited to be, if we're going to be in quarantine, we want to be in quarantine in Raleigh with this community.
Alhamdulillah. Allah
Alhamdulillah. Sheikh Hussein?
Yes, I wanted to say that this was something very new to me, and the first time I heard about it was here. I was in the process of moving up and down. My mom wasn't well, and then nothing was. And then I had coronavirus, and I thought, what is that? What is the coronavirus? And I done some reading, and I thought to myself, whoa, and the next minute it just flared up. And mashallah, my colleague, Sister Gulsange, she has a good background of sicknesses and things, mashallah, and she sees to most of the children at school too when they're not well. And she said, Sheikh, this is a serious thing. We must think immediately of going online. And I thought, what? And here we are, mashallah.
Similar for us as well. I was just listening to the news, but I wasn't really, I wasn't really taken seriously, to be honest. But I think it was really helpful with all of the leadership at IAR, with An-Nur School and the IAR leadership, to at least begin thinking about how we would take the schools and move them digital if we had to. So really that was when we personally started thinking as a school what we're going to do. A lot of it had to do with the ad hoc teams that were created with IAR. They were really helpful guiding us early in the process, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. I'm glad that we were so quick on the boat, and a lot of us, especially the school chairs and the school principals, were all very quick to react to this crisis. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So our next question is, what are each of the schools? Can you fill us in real quickly? What are each of the schools doing as far as this pandemic? Are we following the executive orders, all online, certain in-person classes, schools suspended, very long spring break? Give me an update. What's Al-Noor doing? What's Al-Iman doing?
From an Al-Iman perspective, I mean, when an executive order started to get issued out, or even before then, when we knew that there was some conversation around executive orders, I think we have to abide by them as much as we can, obviously. These are our executive orders from our state leadership, and we have to follow those guidelines. At the same time, we're a school, we're a private school, and we serve a big community. I mean, one of the things I think Al-Noor will also agree here, we are a community school. And so if, we have to always make our decisions based on what we do can impact not just our students and our parents and our teachers, but the greater community right here, right? The IR community as a whole. How we will impact, our Furqan and Noor, all those decisions have to come in play. So, what are we doing? Well, we'll take in each of those executive orders. We're assessing them from a perspective of what we need to do and how we can adapt a little bit so that we can continue supporting our community. Because, just shutting our doors and closing would, hurt parents or teachers or hurts our community as a whole. And so we have to be very careful with that decision. Again, we are a community here, all in one. And then that's, I think, was very critical when we looked at these executive orders and try to figure out what we need to do with them.
So, echoing what, Brother Firdaus was saying, there was a very strong coordination between the schools and IAR. Okay, Al-Noor is actually part of IAR, and we're a religious school, so a little bit of the rules are a little bit different for us. However, I must say that IAR program was ahead of the curve. Okay, so we ended up, I think Al-Iman and Al-Noor were coordinating very closely. And, each one had their own challenges. I think Al-Iman had a lot more volume of students than us. Okay, but as soon as it seemed that it was going to become that our community might be impacted, immediately coordination of how to clean, getting all the chairs cleaned up sanitized the chairs, the tables, the doorknobs, everything meticulously cleaned up. Working with the staff that cleans the location. And then, lo and behold, a few days later, it turns out it's a little bit more serious and things are going to be a little bit more escalated than we thought. Still faster than what was going on with the school system. We ended up implementing, within a couple of days, like a program to get all of our teachers and our students studying online. That meant actually stopping teaching for a couple of days just to get our teachers trained up and just to get our students, just managing the logistics so it happens. And, that was a backup plan under fire. And I gotta say, alhamdulillah, very well executed by Al-Noor staff, Sheikh Hussein and Sister Gulsange, and then the teachers, like very close coordination. The first day of school when we started on Monday, it worked without a hitch, right? And it was very important to us that we're able to provide stability for the kids because their education needs to continue. At that point, it wasn't clear how long this is going to go on for. And so, getting everybody laptops that they need to study, getting all the teachers trained up on how to use it, getting all the parents set up on, how to communicate with the teachers, maintaining the quality control. I must, like I said, Sheikh Hussein goes through every class, checks up that, the progress is being made. And during this time, I think there was very coordination on the backside between Iman and Al-Noor and IR on this. I must compliment on the coordination that happened at Al-Iman with IR on this too. So anyways, so we try to stay ahead, and it worked as smoothly. Now, when we found out there's going to be a little bit more, it's not going to happen just for a couple of weeks, I think that changed our plan too. But I think from the feedback we got from the parents, they're quite happy with how things are handled as well.
Alhamdulillah, it's wonderful to hear that the schools took very proactive measures, sanitizing classrooms, having teacher work days. I remember coming to the Masjid one of those Fridays, or the Monday it was, and it was devoid of that beautiful sound of students running in the hallways, playing in the gym. It was a very eerie feeling. But alhamdulillah, I'm glad that both schools found a resolution that works out well. And now to pivot this question somewhat towards the principals, how are the students handling this transition?
So for Al-Iman School, we did, very similar to An-Nur School, we took some time. We took a couple of days to transition our teachers. We didn't want to just jump into something without being prepared. So we actually spent the first couple of days doing what we call asynchronous learning, which was just self-paced assignments to get ourselves set up for the live teaching. We started the live teaching afterwards with our 4th through 8th grade students, because you can imagine for kindergarten, you know, we're talking about 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, to be online is it's not easy. So that's really been our most challenging area. So we started going live a little bit later with our younger students, but now, alhamdulillah, all students pre-K through 8th grade have some form of live teaching. So it's, you know, we're not an online school, just like on Noor School. We really value and cherish the interactions we have with our students. That's the core of who we are. And right now, not having that is challenging, but we've really made the best we can of a situation. So the kids they were excited for the live. It's great to see them all. They're really excited to see each other. And alhamdulillah, you know, where we are now, we're in a rhythm. And it was nice to just be ahead of the curve. Usually Al-Iman School does follow Wake County with a lot of their policies and procedures being an institution the way we are set up. But this was the first time where we went ahead and parted ways with Wake County, because we knew that we would be able to give our students more than the public system. So, alhamdulillah, it's taken some time. It's not a perfect system because it's not meant to be that. But we've really done, the staff has done an amazing, phenomenal job to just make sure the teaching and learning continues. They have worked way over time. Any staff member will tell you how much they've been putting in, and we really appreciate. We don't even know how we can keep telling them how much they've been doing, because they've been doing so much.
Alhamdulillah, I'm glad to hear that everyone is doing their part and working towards making this such a wonderful learning environment for the students and ensuring that their school year is not completely interrupted by this pandemic and this fiasco. Now,
Yeah, I think one of the challenges, though, that I think both Anur and Al-Iman did well with, and I have kids in both schools, so I can speak as a parent to Anur, is, you know, every day something was changing. I mean, this was moving so fast that even in the same day, what you would think was going to happen next week or the week after would change so quickly. And I remember just going from one day of going, okay, we'll be virtual until spring break and we'll be okay, to just a couple of days later going, I don't think we'll come back to the building this year. And it was that fast. And I commend both schools and the teachers, specifically the teachers and the principals and the staff, to go with the flow as everything was changing so fast. I mean, it was hard for a board to keep up. I could just imagine what was going through all those teachers' heads.
Yeah, I echo with Brother Firdaus. You know what? In leadership, you're only as good as the people you serve. And we are so blessed to, I'm sure the panel agrees, to be serving the people who we are working with right now. You're only as good as the people who you're working with, and they've just been amazing.
Alhamdulillah, I'm so glad to hear that the team's been very great on accepting this challenge and this new direction and the opportunities that we're seeing, alhamdulillah. Now, what can parents do and we as a community do to help support teachers in this difficult time?
Be patient.
Sabr, it's that simple.
Yeah, you know, I think, and I think Sheikh Hussein and Sister Faria might want to talk more about it, but because they're in the trenches, really, I must say, I think just complimenting the teachers would really go a long way. personally, we're teaching kids at home. For the parents who are teaching now, homeschooling right now, I think have a little bit of a taste of what it is that the teachers go through, because they got like 20, 30 other kids and not just their own. So at the very least, I know at the very least, I would certainly ask the parents that, just recognize that teachers are having a very hard time. They're trying to make this work, and it's been very smooth. It's got to do a lot with the teachers honestly trying to make it work. It takes a lot of work before classes, after classes. They're also trying to manage their kids and other obligations in the same room, in the same house. There could be, kids making noise in the background, but they're focused on their kids, right? And I think that support goes a long way. Our school is for the kids in the community, but our teachers are from the community too. So I would just like to highlight that part. I think maybe Sister Faria and Hussein and Sheikh Hussein might have other like recommendations too for the teachers.
I'd just like to say, Brother Kashif, that mashallah, I've been here now for about 4 months, and I've got an amazing staff, I must tell you. They are, first of all, they're not lazy people. And that's important, because as far as children is concerned and teaching children, you can't be laxy-daisy about your teaching, because they pick it up a mile away and they become even more laxy-daisy. So I must say I compliment the staff. They are on it 100%. There's been a few glitches now and then. Somebody can't join maybe, but it gets sorted out in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and it's done. But as far as teachers being there, teachers being on time, teachers teaching until end of the day, until 12, 12:15. It's been a normal school day with Anoor. There is more challenges. Children don't like to sit alone, and they don't like to be isolated. They like to speak to their buddies and friends, of course. So the teacher, mashallah, I see the communication in the class when I go there. It's a very nice, let's say, vibe. There's that learning vibe still, and I can see that the children are still benefiting, and they're going forward. And alhamdulillah, that's so important to see that the children are still learning. And it's as this thing came as a ni'mah, because now if something like this happens again, we know that we can do this, and we've got a backbone behind us, that we know that, hey, we're not lost if something might happen in the future, inshallah. Khair.
Alhamdulillah, that's an excellent point. We always love to use the verse, verily with hardship comes ease. And in this challenge, in this difficult time right now, where we at IAR are having to shut down some programs, forego teaching opportunities, forego conferences we're going to attend, there is an ease that comes with that. And it's the ease that we can reach out to the community through this wonderful portal of YouTube Live or on social media. And I think, to Sheikh Hussein's point, that there's that ease now that should this happen in the future, should there be a snow day, you're prepared to go virtual just like that and offer students a teaching opportunity, so they don't get a free day off like I would when I was back in school, alhamdulillah.
We're still getting the spring break next week, so they'll be fine.
Dang, lucky kids.
I think the spring break, when we were going back and forth in the beginning, we were thinking, should we move spring break? But we really wanted to go with the momentum we have, and we really wanted to give a break for our teachers. And we knew that if we moved it, they would have been working. So we kept the spring break and kept going. And I'm sure next week, not only the teachers, but the parents are going to be so excited about a spring break, which is probably very different than what they had planned. But the break is a wet break, well deserved for everybody involved.
Yeah, I think for the parents, the other thing I think to realize is a lot of us are working. A lot of us who work in IT or working jobs are home, and some of us are not. I get that, but those are home. Their kids are now home with them, even though they're doing online and remote teaching. This is a phenomenal opportunity to, if you've never, how to get closer and closer to your kids, how to spend time with them, even if it's a 10 minutes in the break between classes. And really get close as a family. And I think that's an incredible opportunity for all of us, really, to engage that way.
This is so true. It's a terrific bonding opportunity that everyone's working from home right now. Mom and dad are sitting across from the table while their son and daughter is learning. And everyone's just part of the whole process and going through these new challenges together. And I think subhanAllah, it's a very beautiful experience.
Alhamdulillah.
Now we talked a bit about break, and especially spring break. And I know none of us can forecast the end of this pandemic, but how does the rest of the school year look like? I understand that a lot of schools have end of year exams. Will there be an impact to those with this pandemic? Are they still going to happen in person, online? Can you forecast a little bit, as best you can, what the rest of the school year might look like? When is the school year going to end? Same date as usual or different dates?
So for us, our school is supposed to end on the 21st. That week is usually our week of graduations. We decided to move the last day. We decided to move the last day of classes May 15th. So we really haven't made much changes on our original calendar. That was our last day of classes. We're just not adding, obviously, the graduations at this point. We're still working on seeing how that's going to pan out. As for exams, as of right now, our state of exams that our students take have been canceled. So we will follow the state policy when it comes to end of year exams as well.
No virtual valedictorian speeches?
Our 8th graders, subhanAllah, some of them have been with us since preschool, and we're really hoping we give them a proper send-off because they've been with us so long. To give a virtual send-off it hurts our heart. So we're going to keep working to be able to give them a proper send-off, inshallah. That's the plan.
Ameen, inshallah. So about the graduation and about the exams, inshallah, our exams will be postponed until we get back to school. Graduation will happen next year, inshallah, when we get back to school.
Inshallah. And then
so
go ahead.
It is, it's in fairness, we're all kind of figuring it out as we go along because we just don't know how long this is going to go on. So we are looking at we've been used to doing testing. Alhamdulillah, we do have independent testing for our academics, okay, and we've been using a test that's been working pretty well, accepted by the state of North Carolina. We wanted to make sure that our parents get a fair assessment of how their kids are doing. And that test is a paper-based test, okay, and obviously that's not going to work anymore this year. So we are looking at options, how we can best serve our parents and our kids, our students, right? So is that going to be waiving it with we haven't yet made a final decision yet, just letting you know, but we're considering options. I mean, the other schools aren't doing it. Is there another way we can still serve our parents in terms of getting an assessment? Is there an online option? We're looking at those options at the moment. And our goal certainly is to kind of, as we've had so far, keep an open dialogue with the parents, and then keep them abreast of what we're trying to do. So as much as possible, we can keep things as consistent as possible to prior years. That's our goal, to the extent possible, right? We take pride that our kids, alhamdulillah, not only are doing well in the hifz, a lot of them, are leading salat and tarawih across the masajid, and not just in the Raleigh area, but in the region. But one of our points of like success is that our kids also do well in academics, and you know, and it's a very rare model. It's not a lot of schools in the United States, or actually in much of the West, have figured out how to do. You usually go to a school, it's either hifz only, or then you got to go do your like academics at home on your own. And our focus has to be able to serve what our parents are asking, that we want to do both. So, you know, it's certainly causing us to be a lot more creative in how to get things done. Yeah, but alhamdulillah, I mean, Noor has been gone through challenges in the last 10 years, and alhamdulillah, the board and I have a, you know, responsibility to continue that trajectory. So the graduation, as Sheikh Hussein was saying, you know, we'll still be doing it. We'll just do it when they come back. But the exams for some of the subjects might actually happen online. We're just evaluating that.
Alhamdulillah, I'm glad that that's been looked at and other options are being explored. I imagine that schools all over the country, Islamic schools, other independent schools, might be going through the same challenges as well. Have the chairs been able to contact other Islamic or independent schools around the country and see how they're doing relatively to us? And has there been a lot of cooperation with other schools?
Yeah.
Go ahead, for Brother Farouk.
Yeah. So, you know, to the extent, so look, I've been on the board for a few years, and, you know, Brother Mateen was chairing. I was under his leadership, and he left in a pretty good place. I just took over. And so I've had the chance to visit, you know, well, between half a dozen to a dozen other Quran Hifz programs in the United States, and talk to their leadership too. And, you know, maybe I'm a little bit proud of Anur. We're ahead of the curve in a lot of things, okay? So, you know, we've gotten other schools from other states come and say, hey, listen, we'd really love to learn how you guys are doing. Can we have a visit? Can we have our administration come in and see what your best practices are? And so alhamdulillah, that's been great. We've been in, you know, we've got really good talent. Sheikh Hussein, we're really excited, has joined us this year, okay? And already is showing tremendous improvement and changes in our Hifz program. We strive to be competitive internationally with our Hifz. That's our goal. Now, regarding to the corona, like regarding this virus, have we been reaching out? We haven't, but I mean, IAR and Al-Iman, I think we've been like ahead of the curve anyways. But, you know, I guess it doesn't hurt to go check, see what else is going on around in the industry. So I think now that you pointed out, I will be knocking on and calling up a few people.
Alhamdulillah, ahead of the curve and flattening the curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a different curve. Yeah.
I reached out to a friend of mine who we actually used to be a board member here at Al-Iman before he moved out to Texas. Brother Fatih Bayoni, I'm not sure if a lot of folks probably know him. And what the Islamic schools there were doing over there, and it's amazing that, you know, a lot of them were kind of also took very similar approaches. They're very proactive. I think as a Muslim community, I think when we care so much about our kids, they just took a very proactive jump ahead of the public school system and say, this is what we're going to do. Let's move forward with it. And I think that was great to see that we're not the only ones that were jumping into it. A lot of those other schools, like 6 schools there, jumped right into the same type of remote learning that we're doing. And, you know, they all went through very similar struggles. I mean, that's fine. That's kind of how it's going to work. But it was cool. It was cool to see them do that. So I did reach out just a few to see what they were up to.
So Al-Iman School, besides being secularly accredited by our accreditation agency, is also accredited by CISNA, which is the Council of Islamic Schools of North America. And it's a great organization to be part of. I've called principals up and just, you know, troubleshooted certain areas we've had during this crisis. There's a great listserv. They've served with different webinars to help Islamic schools. So they've been really active, both these organizations, CISNA and ISLA, which is the Islamic Schools League of America, which also Al-Iman School is part of. So there is a great network of Islamic schools out there. And during this crisis, it's been wonderful to see how they've been coming together, sharing resources. It's really been great to see the, you know, overall cooperation of all schools around the country. And really like echoing what everybody else is saying, alhamdulillah, the Islamic schools have definitely been ahead of the game in this particular situation.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. And to that exact point, that we as students, the teachers, the administration are all in this together. They're the ummah, and then all the Islamic schools around the country. We're also an ummah of everyone's in this together. This is new, uncharted territory for everyone. No one's gone through this hardship before, but alhamdulillah, everyone's learning together. And I'm so glad to hear that Al Iman and An Noor are ahead of the curve. Now I have, unfortunately, very difficult question to ask. The rise of this pandemic came at the cost of postponing both the Al Iman and the An Noor fundraisers. I believe one was scheduled for end of March, and one is scheduled for, or was scheduled for, middle of April, April 19th, I believe. What is the plan as far as fundraising for the schools? Are you exploring alternative fundraising strategies, maybe looking into something like that?
So
enlighten us on the financials.
Yeah, in terms of Al Iman, I mean, we went through a very tough decision-making process and understanding what we needed to do. The school fundraiser is once a year, and it's part of the heart and soul of the school. And a lot of it is driven by the parent, the students, and the teachers. I mean, students had rehearsed, and they had all kinds of things set up, and it was very focused on the kids. And to go and as a committee with the administration and sit there and decide, are we going to just cancel, or what we're going to do? It was very heartbreaking. I tell you that. It was very hard. I think it took us at least 3 or 4 days of daily meetings to decide what we wanted to do, because every day was different. Every day the news was coming out, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. And when we looked at it, we said, hey, we're gonna look at the health and safety of the community first, and then that was our top priority. And we decided to reschedule our fundraiser until another time, and we don't know what that time is yet, because our number one focus was health and safety. Our number two focus is getting the digital school working, and that's a lot of pressure on the staff and on the administration to do, and parents as well. And so once we get through this early phase of being online and being remote and getting to that cadence, I think at that point the committee will come back. And in fact, we have planned, the committee can plan next week to actually meet and start thinking about what we're going to do with the fundraiser. It just kind of took a back seat because there was so much other stuff that we need to worry about as a higher priority. This was more, inshallah, we'll get it done. I'm not worried about it. I have a lot of confidence in our community to help the school. And our theme was, it takes the village, right? So we know we have the village. So it was just a matter of timing now. That's all it is, because I know we have the support.
Yeah. So, and on the Noor side, we were scheduled for April. Okay, we were gonna have it, and a lot of work went into planning it, and absolutely same thing as Brother Firdaus is saying. I mean, we same challenges of, hey, we got to call it off. Okay, for every one student that we teach, the tuition only covers $65 or 65% of the expenses. So the donations or the fundraising is actually a very important part. We've been working for the last 2 years to try to diversify, find other sources of funding. Okay, so alhamdulillah, there was a plan to kind of go ahead and continue that trajectory. And so our fundraiser has been pushed back until after summer. Okay, tentatively it's set up for after summer when the new school year starts. With regards to what's our plan now for the fundraising, I think, echoing what Brother Firdaus is saying, the first plan was just get the kids situated and get the parents situated. We're now actually right now working out with the administration of how can we get our after school programs and also our weekend programs launched too. Is there a way we can still serve the students, our alumni? Alumni is a very important focus for us. A significant portion, like some portion of our budget is geared towards that, and we don't want to leave them hanging, because you become a hafid, and that's a little bit of a responsibility. But also part of, our focus has our goal, one of our 3 goals is leadership development. And as our kids are going into high school and college, and many of them go to college, we want to keep them engaged with the Quran. So we're now at the phase of just going through reinitiating some of those programs with a little bit of different. We're going to be reaching out to our, trusted and reliable donors from previous years privately, saying, listen, we need you to step up over here. We're doing our part. The teachers are doing their part. We're doing our part, kind of keeping the school going, and we really need the community at this point to kind of step up and help cover. We expect there to be a shortfall. Okay. So we're looking now at either doing it privately or talking to people, and looking at more creative ways, be it crowdsourcing, okay, and going out to others. And we'd love to work with, our Liman, partners too, on this, on how else can we generate enough funds to keep our school going, right? So, Kashif, if she asked me this a month from now, or ask me and for those, I think we get a much better answer.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of virtual fundraising, right, that I've seen communities do. I mean, I think Apex, or it was an Apex, not Apex, Coverina, that Masjid there did online fundraising. I was attending that, and that was interesting. That was very, very cool to see that. But one of the drawbacks of online or virtual fundraising is you have to really figure out how to get the kids in front. And that's the challenge, right? Because it for us, it is a lot about how we support our kids, and the kids want to be out there. They do want to show what they've done, their skits and all that, all the fun that goes along with it. And that's something we don't want to lose when we go virtual. So it takes a lot of thinking, and it's going to be out of the box and thing. I think that's something, Brother Farouk, I think from a school's perspective, I think what we can continue to work together on is thinking out of the box around different ways of generating funds for our schools.
So I think Gosh, if we had I know the community members are listening to us. I think I would talk to the community members listening right now and saying, please.
This is your 30 seconds. Make your pitch.
Yeah, I'm going to say that our schools, but Anur's, we're getting to Hafiz out. We're teaching in the community. We're going to be asking our community members to doing their part in supporting us, as this fundraiser is not going to happen. And so, support us to continuing our mission forward. Be it Anur, we're working with we're one of the only schools in the West, or very few schools, that are actually doing the hifz and the academics. And of course, I think Al-Iman is doing a stellar job in just being our own community school. That's vital. We got to have our own schools, right? Okay, that's my 30 seconds.
If you want another 30 seconds, I'll take a commission on that money you raise, inshallah.
You're on mute, man. Yeah.
Ending us on a happier note to take us to the future, inshallah. For the principals, what have we learned during this phase? Any new processes that have been implemented that you'd like to take forward to the future, inshallah? Maybe considering a digital alternative to some of the programming, or offering, a continuation of the program during the summer months when students are usually not in classes and not participating. But what of this hardship would you like to carry forward? Some of the ease of this hardship and lessons would you like to carry forward to the rest of the school year?
Well, for Al-Iman School, definitely thinking forward, we could see using this type of program when we have inclement weather, not needing to reschedule things, but also just seeing how the bar has been raised amongst the people who work there. They've set the bar really high for staff members that are going to join us in years to come. They're the people who survived who taught through a world pandemic. They have risen the bar so high that is something that we're going to continue, that the bar is really high at Al-Iman School, and of course An-Noor School, because you have people who are working so hard. So I'm not sure how much we're going to take. It's probably too soon still to answer that question. We're still day by day when it comes to that, but definitely the feeling is that the bar has been raised so high, and that's going to continue to be a prerequisite to be part of this staff as we keep moving forward, inshallah.
So alhamdulillah, I think An-Noor will also keep on doing the virtual school in summer. with the children that they normally leave and go home, and they go on holidays, and their parents would like them to learn still. So we would encourage them also to have school. It might not be every day, but it would make things easier, according to the hifz, because the consistency in the hifz is key. If you can keep the student consistent in the reading, then mashallah, then your task is much easier at the end of the day. So I think in future, inshallah, we would like to keep this going as long as what we can in the afternoon, maybe for special classes, for people that is maybe sick, for people that, yeah. So inshallah, we just saw with the barakah of the Quran, mashallah, that this became a very positive thing, and we will be using it, inshallah.
Inshallah, I'm so glad to hear that something's being considered. It's wonderful that we can take lessons out of our hardships and find that silver lining behind our cloudy experiences. Before I hand it over to Sheikh Hussein to close us out with dua, inshallah, if Sheikh Hussein does not mind doing that, I'd like to thank the community and ask if you have any questions. Alhamdulillah, Sister Afaf Salam would like to thank both the Al-Iman and the An-Nur administration and principal. She has students in both Al-Nur and Al-Iman, a house divided just like Firdaus. It's like UNC and NC State playing, man. Alhamdulillah for the hard work and dedication. All one team. There we go. I still pull for Al Furqan though, if they ever played in basketball games. Yeah, this is definitely a challenging process for all of us. The schools especially having to redirect everything from these wonderful peer-to-peer learning models, having the teachers and the students right there in the classroom, parents giving, teachers giving students direct feedback, students having access to their teachers. It's definitely a huge challenge. And I can only imagine what the administration and what the principals are going through, as well as the teachers and the parents. So jazakallah khair to everyone. Alhamdulillah for your wonderful efforts. And I'm very grateful.
Brother Kasif, when I also, just one thing to say about being one team is that is important to me to say that, because as a Frisbee coach, the Al-Iman and An-Nur Apex team this year did very well as one team. And we've always played as one team. Even last year, where Al-Iman and An-Nur had players from both teams, and both schools had players in that one team, and we always have done very well. So for me, it's always one team.
Alhamdulillah. One team. You know what? I'm going to change the title of this episode to One Team.
MashaAllah.
I believe in it. I think that's very true. We're all one team working together, and as we mentioned, the fundraising is definitely going to become a challenge for all of us. Especially at IAR, we're thinking of new ways, out of the box methods. Ramadan's always been a wonderful fundraising opportunity for the Masjid, and now we also put our heads together and think of out of the box strategies. Do we go virtual fundraising? Do we implement different alternative venues of fundraising? And it's going to be a challenge for all of us, inshallah. But we are one team, as Brother Firdaus said, and we're going to work on this together, inshallah. And I am honored, humbled, and blessed to have such role models and brothers, Firdaus Bhai and Farouk Bhai and Thuriya Baji and Sheikh Hussein. We are one family in this, and I'm very honored to work with you guys on this. If you guys have any closing words, please feel free to let me know. But otherwise, I'd like to kick it over to Sheikh Hussein to close us out with a nice dua. And inshallah, we will see everyone tomorrow, 8 p.m., same time, same place, raleigh-masjid.org. And we're going to have Brother Ahmed Kukwa will be talking about the implementation of the small business loans and how exactly we'll receive our free money from the government, inshallah.
So yeah, you said we could say a couple of words. Let me just jump something in, right?
A couple. You could say 2 words.
Jazakallah khairan. Ouch, I used it up. Oh no. So I think I would like our community to know that, look, from a Noor perspective, we see our mission as getting a lot of Quran, not just Quran hifz, but potential leaders who understand and appreciation of Islamic studies as well, and the Quran. And we need to continue that effort going. And while I know we're reaching out and saying the funds, we need people to kind of open up their wallets, or we're looking at other places, consider our schools. But also in these times of these hard times, Allah listens to our dua more. And I think I would sincerely ask our community members to actually make sincere dua for our schools, okay, and our kids. These kids are giving up. I mean, they're studying every day because them and their parents are investing a lot of time on becoming very fruitful parts of our community. So don't forget about us when you make your dua every day. Right? And then we'll send you an email because we also want to get some money too.
Inshallah. Firdaus Bhai?
No, I think this is a great forum. I'm very glad to be part of it. I think, Brother Qasim, you've done a great job. One day you'll have your own sitcom show and you'll be famous. But this is very good, and I really enjoy being on it.
Amen.
And there's another South African guy with a sitcom show, right? What's his name?
I don't know. Not all South Africans know each other.
Okay, fine.
Late Night with Trevor Noah.
That's right, Trevor Noah. You know him? Did you grow up with him?
Yeah, we're actually neighbors. We have lions and tigers walking around our backyards as pets. And then I'd like to hand it over to Faria Baji, if you have any final thoughts or statements for the community.
Just the same thing, to remember the schools, the students, the teachers, and their du'as as we get closer to the month of Ramadan. Really, the school is there to serve the community. These kids that leave our schools end up, leaders of our community. They come back to us. So many of our past alumni some of them are even teachers now. They come back to serve where it all started. So these are really the people who are going to keep the community going. So it's so important to invest with them and invest for them, and also to remember sincerely in their du'as as they keep going older and growing up, for them to be great role models and great citizens of our community, inshallah.
Ameen.
Ameen. Finally, Sheikh Hussein, would you like to say a few words and end us with a Quran recitation, beautiful dua, anything you feel, inshallah?
I'll make the dua. Bismillah. Is everyone done with the خير? Al-Fatiha. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وشفيعنا وسندنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما. الحمد لله على كل حال، ونعوذ بالله من حال أهل الضلال برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم اجعل بيننا ألفة ومحبة وقرارا، ولا تجعل بيننا نفرة وفتنة وفرارا، وجعلنا من الذين يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. ربنا افتح بيننا وبين قومنا بالحق وأنت خير الفاتحين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وأدخلنا الجنة مع الأبرار يا عزيز يا غفار يا رب العالمين. اللهم اهدنا واهد بنا واجعلنا سببا لمن اهتدى. اللهم اهدنا بهداية القرآن. اللهم اهدنا بهداية القرآن. اللهم اهدنا بهداية القرآن. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. قال الله تعالى إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وأصحابه وبارك وسلم. سبحانك ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. تقبل الله منا ومنكم صالح الأعمال. شكرا جزيلا.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Hussein. Jazakallah khair to our audience. Inshallah, we will see everyone tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.